life I've barely spoken. Your words have been so broken. I've been under your hypnosis. Why did I sip that potion? I'm so done with holy ghosting. My birth, it is an omen. Lay me down up in the ocean until you see no motion. Right now I can barely focus. I'm showing no emotion. On your knees, show your devotion. My skin is black but golden. I'm not here for bragging, boasting. Ain't lying, I've been chosen. Mind is burning, heart's exploding. This is my magnum opus. Are you with me now? Said, are you with me now? Ain't felt this good in a while. They want us to simmer down. Can you hear me now? Am I going in and out? I stop and just look around to see if you're with me now. Tell me, are you with me now? Ready to put it down. Start at the bottom, already forgot them, but they won't forgive me now. You really ain't ready now. You haters just in the crowd. But still I just look around. Are you with me now? Are you with me? Step in the fire, get ready to take it higher. Real coming out your amplified. Y'all want every black man to be rich and pride. Why these weapons up and turn into shy, huh? Cell phone became your brother. Internet replace your mother. You leaving homies on red. It's no wonder all your friends dead. Jealousy was a centerpiece, so my best friends turned to enemies. Sabotage my identity. Why they wanna treat me like a Kennedy? They wanna affect the legacy. Protect the heart, I cut off the extremities. I'll never be another piece in your recipe for social supremacy. Are you with me now? Said, are you with me now? Ain't felt this good in a while. They want us to simmer down. Can you hear me now? Am I going in and out? I stop and just look around to see if you're with me now. Tell me, are you with me now? Ready to put it down. Start at the bottom, already forgot them, but they won't forgive me now. You really ain't ready now. You haters just in the crowd. But till I just look around, are you with me now? Are you with me now? Are you with me now? Said, are you with me now? Ain't felt this good in a while. They want us to simmer down. Can you hear me now? Am I going in and out? I stop and just look around to see if you're with me now. Tell me, are you with me now? Ready to put it down. Start at the bottom, already forgot them, but they won't forgive me now. You really ain't ready now. You haters just in the crowd, but still I just look around. Are you with me now? Are you with me now? Whoa. I feel it coming now. It's too late to shut it down. Over the mountain now. Burning the valley down. I don't know where my mind is. Don't even know what time is. Somebody stop the virus. I don't think I survived this. I feel it coming now. It's too late to shut it down. Over the mountain now, burning the valley down. I don't know where my mind is. Don't even know what time is. Somebody stop the virus. Room full of bodies, but nothing but silence. Yeah, I'm quiet, but f*** all that shyness. Go crazy, turn this bitch into an asylum. You fly, but we ain't looking for pilots. I never back down to a tyrant, His Highness. Even Jack said, f*** all them giants. What goes up comes down, man, that's basic science. Look at my iris and you'll see the fines. I'd rather not get involved with you. What's the problem, man? I'll solve all you sign. How you find when your time up? How you climb when your line stuck? Barbershop getting lined up. Yeah, your hair good, but your mind super clear. Uber everywhere. This sound like Superman is here. Are you with me now? Said, are you with me now? Ain't felt this good in a while. They want us to simmer down. Can you hear me now? Am I going in and out? I stop and just look around to see if you're with me now. Tell me, are you with me now? Ready to put it down. Start at the bottom, already forgot it, but they won't forgive me now. You really ain't ready now. You haters just in the crowd, but still I just look around. Are you with me now? Are you with me now?
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the WardRadio live stream. I am your host, Cardinellis. Today, I'm joined in the studio by Brittany the Shadow, as well as via Zoom by a killer cast here. We've got Luke Hansen. I meant to say Jacob Hansen, Luke Hansen, Brad Whitbeck, and Kwaku L. Joining us today to talk about all kinds of stuff. We got the new hymn book coming out. We're going to be reviewing some of the new hymns, and we got a debate to react to here. So there's no particular order we got to do it in, but I have a feeling Jacob would like us to react to the debate first, and so we will probably oblige. Anyway, who wants to lead this charge? My man, there's 5 of us. There's 5 of us. Who wants to lead this charge? We got
6.
Oh, 6. Yes, sorry. I was looking on the screen. I
Okay.
apologize.
Math is hard.
Brittany is going to be the keepress of the chats. What we'll do is I nominate Brad Whitbeck. To start us out today and tell us what's going on. Before we toss to Brad, just want to remind you guys, this live stream is brought to us by a sponsor, Scripture Notes. They're pretty cool, and anytime we look up scriptures during this podcast, I'm going to be using Scripture Notes, which is a pretty cool, awesome way of just organizing your thoughts and doing your whole scripture study and whatnot. So we thank them for sponsoring this live stream. And we also remind you guys, if you want to support the channel, don't forget to check out WardRadio.com to buy a shirt, or now actually a hat. We got hats too. So anyway, Brittany, you're keepers of the chats. Keep us caught up on chats. And without any further ado, Brad Whitbeck, Apostle 2028. Take it away, my man. Go.
All right. So for anybody who doesn't know, what we are discussing tonight is the debate that went on with Jacob Hansen and Jacob Isbell last week, right? So this is effectively, we saw 2 Jacobs discussing Jacob 2, and the clear winner was Jacob. And I'm pretty sure that we all came away just feeling that way, you know? Both sides agreed Jacob won, and it was awesome. It was fantastic. Well done all around.
Yeah, man. All right. How'd you feel, Jacob? How'd you feel?
No, I think it went well. I think Jacob won. And so that's what matters here. Everyone was unanimous. It was great. No, I think the debate went real well. I just want to real quickly.
What? Joke aside, the actual topic was, what did Joseph Smith practice polygamy? That was the topic of the debate.
Correct. And so just to rep my boy today, I've got my Brigham Young shirt today that I decided to rep. So anyway, no, I thought the debate went well. I think it was interesting because we both kind of approached it from different angles, I think, a little bit. I definitely... So the debate question was, did Joseph Smith practice polygamy? And that is a historical question. Regardless of how someone feels about it, or if it theologically works for you or whatever, it's a historical question. And so I approached it with the historical evidence. One of the things that I feel like I've gotten a lot of feedback on the debate was that I provided a historical case why it's pretty obvious in the historical record that Joseph Smith did indeed practice plural marriage, where my opponent focused more on trying to make a theological case saying that it's gross and bad and therefore it couldn't have happened, sort of thing. And I feel like a lot of people sort of, that's the feedback that I was getting from people.
Okay. Well, so let's just really fast as a group. I got to know, who all just blurt it out. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got to say it all at once. Who do you guys think won? Just be honest.
Jacob.
Who do you guys think won?
Jacob.
No, I know you're all doing
Jacob.
the funny thing, but do you think the pro-polygamy or the polygamy denier peoples won? Be honest. Kwaku, I see you shaking your head. Come on, you're the dude that throws parties. You're the guy that's got your ear to the train tracks of the people, the Vox Populi. What do you think? Luke, Jacob, Brad, Brittany, you got to tell me. Who do you think won?
I wasn't even there, and I think Jacob won. So.
Oh gosh, stop saying Jacob won.
I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts on this.
Yeah.
The first is, I was really excited for this because I'm a fan of in real life debates. I hate the Zoom debates. I like it to be in real life, so I was a very big fan of that. I was disappointed by the debate in general, though, because this could have been like all right, we finally got it. Jacob Isbell and Jacob Hansen going at it. Did Joseph Smith practice polygamy? And I feel like we got 2 debates in one. We had someone prepare for a debate about if the scriptures allow for the narrative of Joseph Smith practicing polygamy, and we had someone prepare for the debate does the historical record show that Joseph Smith practiced polygamy? Now, I think Jacob Hansen is right, because that question is a historical question, but it really felt like Jacob Hansen came to talk about history, which I think probably should have been what it was on both sides, and Jacob Isbell came to talk about scripture. And when you guys did cross examinations, it kind of felt like everything was going in one ear, out the other. And I feel like it should have beforehand, someone should have said, by the way, we're only talking history, right? And I feel like after the opening statements, I was like, crap. This is Jacob Isbell is not going to reference any of the historical stuff Jacob Hansen brought up. And Jacob Hansen is here to talk history, which low-key, that should have been the whole thing. We shouldn't have even really touched the scriptures. It should have been history. So I kind of felt like we got two. And if it happens again with Jacob Hansen and Michelle Stone, I think that'll be more beneficial, because this one didn't change. I think more likely Jacob Hansen changed people's minds against that side than that side changed Jacob Hansen's people on Jacob Hansen's side's mind. But like, I really feel like it should be redone, focusing on one or the other, because I kind of was like, man, we're not getting the debate people actually want. Anyway, that's my takeaway.
Okay, interesting. Luke,
and
what do you think?
And my quick response to that was, I think that you're right, Kwaku, and that is why I think a lot of people concluded that I won the debate, because the debate question was a historical question.
Did Joseph Smith practice polygamy?
Yes, it's a historical question, not a scriptural sort of, what do you think about polygamy from the scriptures? It's a different thing. So that, in that sense, unfortunately, I agree. And I was expecting him to come back with certain arguments, and I was surprised. He took a very different angle by arguing, this is my interpretation of the scriptures, instead of like, well, who cares? Like, what does the historical record show?
Yeah.
I think, like, if you look at the way, so on that side, it's like the Rob Fotheringham and Michelle Stone and the Whitney Horning and, that kind of group have gone through and said, here's why we think the historical record shows he didn't practice it. And I think everyone was waiting for him to present that stuff. And I just think, I just think he was prepared for a scriptural thing. Like, that's honestly what it seemed like. It seemed like,
to be fair,
came in thinking but it is a historical question. I'm not 100%.
I do think that a lot of people in this movement go down the exact track we saw Jacob Isbell go when asked, did Joseph Smith practice polygamy? The knee-jerk reaction is to go, well, the scriptures say it's bad, and therefore he couldn't have practiced it because I know he's a prophet, right? So, like, I don't think that Jacob Isbell was preparing for a different debate. I think he was preparing to answer the question, did Joseph Smith practice polygamy? He just was doing it from the way that the general person who is in this camp tends to answer it, right? I think the only people really answering it with, like, solid looks at historical stuff, or at least their focus on what they choose to look at out of the historical stuff, is like the people you mentioned, Michelle Stone, Rob Fotheringham, Whitney Horning.
And I invited Michelle Stone to do this debate before I invited Jacob Isbell. She rejected my invitation to do a formal debate. She said, that's not my style.
Nah, but she's down for it now. She's down for it now.
No, not a formal debate. She doesn't. She
wants a discussion.
It's got to be. Look, if I set this up in an event center in Utah, and we get the moderator to be like a guy who is like an Orthodox Christian who's never been Mormon and has zero stakes in this debate, or like a Hare Krishna or someone who could care less anything about this, they're just there to moderate the structure. I think that could be really cool, because I think you need to be able to cross-examine. You need to be able to present the evidence. And I think Michelle Stone should absolutely, go in and do the real debate. I think conversations via Zoom on these subjects last about 15 minutes before the interruptions start, and then someone silences someone else and the mic goes out. It's like, this is literally so hard to watch. I hate it. It's got to be in real life. It's got to be person to person.
It's true. And a number of people make this comment of like, debates, none of these people are going to change their mind. And yes, Jacob Hansen is never going to change his mind, even if he gets his butt kicked on stage. Same for Jacob Isbell. That's not the point of debate. point of debate is for a person who is undecided to come in and hear the arguments from both sides and the counter arguments to each of those arguments in a short, compact, and hopefully cordial environment. That's what the debate's for. And it can be very effective at doing that if both of the debaters and the moderator have that goal in mind. And I think sometimes the audience just misses that and gets really confused about, why are we doing this? None of these people are going to change their mind. It's like, they're not, but maybe you will.
Okay.
So just got to throw that out there.
Before we go any farther, keepers of the chats. Brittany, I've seen a couple of super chats come in. Why don't you catch us up on the super chats really fast?
Okay, well, here's a new debate topic. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, hit it.
Oh,
hit
yeah.
it.
From Stephen Diamond, he says, 3-piece suit versus 2-piece suit. I need an answer. Personally, I love my 3-piece suit. And why don't we bring back capes for men in church?
Capes. Does anybody want to defend capes? I'm down with a 3-piece suit. But capes, I don't know about capes, man.
That'll get Kwaku a whole step closer to Lando Calrissian, right?
Yeah.
He'll be right there.
I just feel like the guy asking that question also has a fedora with a feather in it.
That's true. That's
He
true.
might.
That's true.
He might.
I gotta say,
no.
the Lando Calrissian commentary has increased in the chat, and those memes be a flying, bro. And the thicker your mustache gets, I think the more.
A lot of Lando Calrissian comments. Yeah, no.
Yeah, for real. I'm digging, bro. All right, keep going,
That
Brad.
said, to the actual question, 2-piece suits just because I'm lazy now. I would have said 3-piece suits before, but I mean,
I
just
say
don't have time.
we get 3-piece suits if the church allows us to have cigars and elders quorum. We have to sit around in a big oval table with our 3-piece suits and cigars in our hands.
Dude, that would be my type of elders quorum. Okay, so Jacob, get it all out of your system, bro. You were talking to me a mile a minute after the debate just a couple of days ago about all these things you want to go over and you want to talk about, you know what I'm saying? And now we're joking about 3-piece suits and 2-piece suits. Like, hit it, bro, so we can get to the hymns and tell us what we missed, why this was so important, the whole 9 yards. The floor is yours, baby. Go.
So, go ahead, Brad.
Just because I want to back you up a little bit before you even speak, one thing I do want to say is I feel like Jacob Hansen's arguments were far more convincing. By virtue of you going over, like, your opening statement alone, I think was incredibly convincing on the part of, hey, here are all of these witnesses that all agree Joseph Smith practiced polygamy. Here are their biases. These are not all people who are part of the Brighamite church, right? And the way that you laid out that evidence was super convincing. It left me by the end of it being like, wow, I mean, yeah, that kind of solves it. Like, it's a matter of the historical record, you know? And so I think you did a very good job of laying that out.
And it isn't even just the witnesses. It's also the literal documents themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, you have journal entries from people that, you know, Joseph Smith's own journal talks about receiving a revelation on July 12th, 1843. And it's funny because they want to bring up this point like, oh, did you know that 132 was released in 1852? And I'm sort of like, yeah, because if it had been released in 1843, the saints would have been murdered. Like we all have to agree that this was being done underground. And so the question is there any evidence that it existed prior to that? And I like to frame the debate around this question. It all comes down to this. This is what I want everyone to do around this question. This is an endless rabbit hole of he said, she said, all sorts of stuff. Okay. And they'll talk about, oh, well, this person's a compromised witness, or there was the Temple Lot trial and they somebody said something that couldn't have been true or whatever. Here's the problem. You can cut all that crap out. It's just like the Book of Mormon with our church. If the Book of Mormon is true, the church is true, right? Like Brigham or Joseph Smith was a prophet. If section 132 was authored by Joseph Smith, it's over. So the only real relevant question is to find out if there's reason to believe. Now, all they do is they say, well, it didn't get released till 1852, therefore,
Well, in all fairness, they do say, oh, well, we have reason to believe that it was forged, and they make a lot of accusations. But the reason why also I feel like, despite, you're my friend, well, Jacob Isbell is my friend as well. So I feel like I'm uniquely prepared to approach this in a relatively unbiased manner. The reason why I would say I think you won the debate is, first off, just by default, you attack the historical question, right? I think Jacob Isbell, I think he outmaneuvered you with comedy. He got more laughs. I think he played to the audience a lot more. You know what I'm saying? He did the Elvis microphone thing
to the audience that was on his side.
Well, yeah, it was opposing.
A lot of people were off put by him in the commentary.
I get that. But those are more people on your side that are off put, right? So I think he appealed to the home court advantage, and I think he was a little bit more funnier and so on and so forth. But those are all short-term gains. You know what I'm saying? Like, your presentation was, okay, look at this primary source. Look at this original cursive. Look at this document from 1842. Look at this spreadsheet I made. And I'm a little bit biased because while I was there setting up, something that most people didn't get to see was my boy, Jacob Isbell. I love him. But, bro, having talked to you for weeks, I know that you were preparing for weeks for this. I saw him also making his slides within hours of the thing starting. And I get that with the power of accusation, your argument doesn't have to be as good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and maybe you don't need as many primary source documents and so on and so forth to make the accusatory argument as you do the defending argument and things like that. But I mean, you came so well prepared with primary sources. I don't see how anybody could reasonably walk away from having viewed that as thinking, oh no, this guy's not telling the truth, unless your opposition had equal, if not more, primary sources. And he didn't. He made some really great appeals of, well, how would you explain your position to your wife? How would you, respond to this scripture? And it's a scripture that's common that all of us know, and so on and so forth. He did a better kind of pop culture appeal, I'd say. But I mean, anybody watching the debate as it sits in cyberspace with the plethora of slides that you put out, I just think in the long term, they would just be one to your side, because you can't fight like the primary. This is why the CES letter was so good, was because at least they put a bunch of pretty pictures in it when they made all of their accusations, right? You just by virtue of having more pretty pictures kind of came across as the more historically grounded and vetted and verifiable. That's what I should say. Verifiable.
Well, that using the actual sources, that helped.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
I was gonna say though, so another thing that happens in this debate and in this subject, because as I've kind of was studying for it, and believe me, I looked at all of them. I listened to all the Hemlock Knot stuff. I've gone through all their stuff. I know what they're gonna say, and what I found that the pattern is this is something that a lot of this is the same way people do like a flat earther kind of thing. Okay, what they do is they ask you questions that you can't answer. And there are questions that are like, that's odd. But see, that's not how a historian actually looks at the past to figure out what happened.
I gotta know, what's the unanswerable flat earther question? Like, well, what is it?
You can, all right, fine, the moon landing or something where there's some question where they're like, well, then why did this show up in NASA's archive or whatever? You know what I mean?
Quaku can tell us the unanswerable flat earther.
Yeah, so what is?
I was not going to
scam.
Yeah, well, what is it? When you go in an airplane,
the topic of this live stream is about to change.
All right, okay.
There is a lot. No, I think there's a lot of crossover between flat earthers and people who don't believe Joseph Smith practiced polygamy.
There is. Absolutely.
I guarantee there probably is. Not saying all polygamy denial people are flat earthers, but if you're in the church and you are a flat earther, there's a pretty good chance you probably also are just polygamy person.
Here is how a historian looks at something, right? First of all, you got to collect all of the data. Okay. Now, anytime you collect a whole bunch of data and information about something that happened in the past, you're going to get conflicting accounts. You're going to get anomalies in that data. It's not going to perfectly tell you what happened. And so what you have to do is you have to look at all of that data, and then you have to come up with the best theory that accounts for the most data. Okay.
Preferably in the simplest way.
Prefer with the least amount of crazy conjecture.
Ad hoc. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, and that will give you your most plausible theory to explain the historical data. What people like Michelle Stone and Isbell and a lot of them do is that they will look at the anomalies and try and magnify those as much as possible, and then they'll put those in your face. But see, this is why a cross-examination is so important, because then that's where you get to ask them the questions. Like, you have to then see, you have to account for things too. Because if you're going to say that Joseph Smith didn't practice polygamy, then you're going to have to explain why people like Sidney Rigdon in 1846 said that he talked with Joseph and Emma. Like, what was his motive, right? And I can make a list of literally every person in Joseph's inner circle, with the exception of Emma, said that he and Hiram were involved in polygamy. Like, all of them. There's literally nobody in the inner circle. And so you have to account for that data. Now, the way they account for it when you really push them is to get into absolutely crazy conspiracy theories that are like, they went back and changed all the documents, all the primary sources that I was showing. Those have all been changed. Every one of these people were lying. Even the people that weren't Brigham Young followers were lying. And it's just like, at what point do you say, okay, this theory is way crazier than just saying than to provide the accounting for some of the things that Joseph said and that Emma said.
Now,
Okay.
I do want to throw a bone to Jacob Isbell, because I do think he brought up at least one point that I found was really interesting.
I'll destroy it.
I know you will. And in fact, I intend to after bringing it up myself. But I think one of the stronger arguments that they have is down the line of like, hey, why aren't there any children from Joseph?
I thought the exact same thing. I was actually ready towards the end to be like, hey, hold on a second. Two of you guys have sidestepped every single time you've answered this question. Jacob Isbell, you've sidestepped every single time they've talked about that conference where there's conference minutes where it was supposedly talked about. Therefore,
it wasn't conference minutes. It was a high council meeting in Nauvoo.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Whatever that thing is. Okay.
The minutes actually were intentionally kept very vague.
Okay. Well, he kept sidestepping that. And then also you had never really properly answered the question about like, why didn't Joseph Smith actually produce children if he was indeed practicing polygamy, because with the amount of kids him and Emma had, fertility was not
I answered it.
Question.
He did answer it.
There are two answers to it.
Wait,
number one.
Let me finish.
Yeah, let
Go
Brad
ahead.
finish.
Go ahead.
He did pin that. He did pin that as saying he was going to answer it.
Yeah, here's the thing that I think with this question. One of the reasons why it comes across as a strong question is because if there was one child from Joseph that we could trace via DNA, it would solve the question. It would immediately answer it, right? I don't think that necessarily means that the lack of a child means that Joseph didn't do it, though, right? And that's the way that I see it framed when people bring it up, right? They'll say, well, if he had a child, then it happened. But since he doesn't, we don't have one proven right now. It didn't happen, right? And I don't think it has that level of power, because when you start looking at the details and when you look at how many times Joseph Smith would have had, like, okay, how do I say this? Joseph Smith was getting married to these women in a very short window right before his death, right? And even though you bring up a good point that Joseph and Emma had a decent number of children, no one ever brings up the amount of kids that miscarried, right? It was a relatively common thing, let alone kids that died early in infancy as well, right? And so there's issues there. It also took them a couple of years before they even had kids. And so I think that once you start looking at the reality of their situation and the short window of time that Joseph would have been practicing this polygamy, it becomes a way less compelling argument to me, right? And sorry to have thrown that in there, Jacob, but continue with where you think it should go.
No,
Brittany's got a question. Brittany's got a question.
Is it historically?
Go ahead, Brittany.
Is it historically factual that Eliza was pregnant and then she miscarried?
No.
Is that false?
No, Eliza R. Snow was not pregnant.
Okay, because I've heard that circulating, that she was pregnant and Emma pushed her down the stairs or something happened and then she got a miscarriage.
Yeah, no, that is a like third-hand hostile source.
It's a rough source for that one.
Here's the thing. One of the things that I found with this the sourcing is super important because you are literally dealing with a gossip mill that's been going for 150 years. And it was going back then. And so you have people saying, well, I heard this from so-and-so, and so-and-so told me that. And you get and that's where it gets really ugly. That's why if you went to my presentation, I went back to original source materials as close as I could possibly get. Okay. And they paint a very clear picture. Now, to address the issue of Joseph not having children with anyone but Emma. Okay. Two things. The first one that I answered is I said, look, I'm a believer in the reluctant polygamist theory. Okay. I think Don Bradley on your show gave very good reasons to believe that Joseph was trying to figure out how to do this without pissing off Emma.
Smart
Because
man.
Emma was not on board. Okay. It was really, and Joseph loved Emma. There's one thing that's very clear is that historically, when you look at stuff, finding like genuine love stories is not that common. But Joseph and Emma truly loved one another. And Joseph, I believe, the historical record shows the best explanation of what's in there is that Joseph didn't want to piss off Emma, but he still was being threatened that he had to bring this to pass. Now, that's one thing. So I think he was avoiding that kind of stuff as much as possible, not to piss off Emma. I think a ton of those wedding sealings that he had were eternity-only sealings. I think that there's good reason to believe that. And then the other reason why is that it was a fairly short window. One of the things that blew me away when I learned about Joseph Smith's polygamy, you got to remember, this is all happening like super fast in like the last 18 months of his life. It's like boom, 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 boom. He's dead. Yeah. And so it's like
it's 1843 that he has the revelation, and he dies in 1844.
Yes. And so this whole practice was something that happened fairly quick. That also goes to understand why Emma would deny it. Emma just lost her husband, who she loved deeply, over this issue. Okay. And she didn't like it. She wasn't on board with it. And so, and then she gets into a property fight with Brigham Young over the property of the church, where they're trying to figure out what belongs to her so she can support her children and what belongs to the church. And then all of a sudden, and Brigham is trying to continue this thing that just got her husband killed. I can totally empathize with poor Emma, who wanted to just put this episode behind her and just say, nope. And so why would Emma later in life, allegedly, and there's mixed reports about that, deny it? Okay. And so if that's the case, God bless you, Emma. But guess what? Emma, again, take all of the data into account. We have a good reason to believe why Emma might say what she said. What we don't have is any explanation for everybody else who said the opposite. Like everybody. This is the thing. Like, again, this is what they do. They get us talking about why didn't Joseph have any kids, where they don't ever have to defend all of the overwhelming evidence that's on our side or account for it. And so because we're playing defense the whole time, we lose.
So if I can, I wanted to give two notes to both sides, because the whole time after having, I did a bunch of debates, way back when, and I was getting so antsy. I don't know if you could tell, my leg was shaking like an insane person as I was sitting there, because I saw so many missed opportunities, and it was driving me crazy. So the first missed opportunity that I think Jacob Hansen, I think this could have been a freaking dog pile had you brought this up. And then I'm going to give Jacob Isbell would have been a dog pile for him. So Jacob Hansen, Joseph Smith, it's on record, he was practicing polygamy. And then on record, he had the dream of the angel with the flaming sword. But that seems to actually post-date when he first allegedly did the first sealing, right?
What wasn't a flaming sword, by the way. That's one of the ways you can tell when someone is misquoting it.
Right.
It was a sword, not a flaming sword.
Don Bradley's whole thing about looking up into the sky and seeing what the constellations was actually really, really cool.
Yeah,
but I'm
that's
saying
awesome.
Angel with the flaming sword because that's like the kicker. Everyone knows that reference, right? I think right there is a way to make the argument of here's how complicated this is, even from Joseph Smith's perspective, and those who claim it. Those who claim he was a polygamist are claiming he had his first sealing or was starting to practice even before that, which insinuates that even the pro-polygamy people are not claiming that he was just doing this and then he had to keep it quiet. It's by self-admission. He's trying to be quiet about this because he doesn't quite understand it. So from those who believe he was a polygamist, by their own admission, we actually have him trying to do this and then claiming after, hey, God says I'm not even doing this the way I should be. That's like the actual evidence right there for the relative polygamy, because the people who deny polygamy are saying, oh, this is a shoo-in, that it's all fake. But usually if you're trying to make something seem crystal clear and you're faking it, you don't add in the nuance and the complexity that comes with when you're telling the truth, right? So I think if you had brought that up and you had been like, look, Jacob Isbell, you're trying to make this claim that they all made this up after his death. Why would they add in the historical record things that are directly, contradictory or directly complicated that shows he wasn't that into this? Why would they add
there
that
are
in, right?
multiple things like that. I mean, William Clayton's journal full on says that he was like sealing Joseph to other people and Joseph sealed him to other women. Like, this is in a journal, like a contemporaneous journal. And they say, well, the Brighamites went and like made this journal up after the fact. Again, problem with this is what you're talking about, Kwaku, is it's called the criteria of embarrassment. It's a criteria in historical analysis to see if something is true, right? If I am talking about my football team and I say, and it was my team, and I'm saying, they did great, man, they were so good, it's one thing. If the team that just got their butts kicked, if they write down that team was super good and they did a great job, which one is obviously, it's more embarrassing for the team that lost to write things that are contrary to their sort of things. Okay, it's called the criteria of embarrassment. It's one of the reasons that the resurrection narrative is believable, because when they wrote the resurrection story, if they were making it up, they wouldn't have the women be the ones giving the testimony, because women's testimony wasn't believable in the ancient world. Again, it's an embarrassing fact that if you're making up a story, you wouldn't do. So in William Clayton's journal, which they all say is forged, you have all these things about Joseph Smith talking crap about Brigham Young. If you're going to make up a journal to make Brigham Young look good, you're not going to include stuff that makes Brigham look bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so we've got a bunch of...
Wait, Card, one last thing. And the other thing is, what I think Jacob Isbell should have done is, because when you brought up the council, Jacob Hansen, Jacob Isbell didn't really touch it. When you brought up hey, why are quotes from D&C 132 and the Nauvoo Expositor, why are people saying who are at this council the same thing that both these documents are saying, right? And that wasn't really touched. And when
That's
I was
a smoking
like,
gun, it's over.
If I'm
like that, that is proof positive.
Isbell,
that is proof positive that Joseph Smith, that 132 was written prior to 1844.
So if I'm Jacob Isbell, my objective is, okay, I've got about 10 minutes, 5 maybe, to convince this audience that council is not what Jacob Hansen is making it seem. Like, that is my only out. What I think he should have done is he should have said, let's segue real quick to look at history of the church, history of Joseph Smith as told by his mother, by Lucy Mack Smith. And let's look at the fact that the Utah copies were rewritten by Brigham Young. Why did Brigham Young rewrite Lucy Mack Smith's biography of her son? Let's look and see how many times did Brigham Young forge things afterward, right? He could have gone with that, because if he couldn't directly refute the council, his best bet is to try to refute the credibility of anybody who would have reported at that council. I think that's where he should have run with it.
And that's where I would have nuked him, because here's the problem. The people that I mentioned, and I was prepared for that argument. I thought that's what he was going to say. And so to nuke that argument, I was going to show, and I have the slide that shows that Leonard Sobey, Austin Cowles, and William Marks, all who were in that meeting, all of whom never became Brighamites and hated Brigham Young till the day they died, they all said that it was read in the meeting as well. So the problem is that my witnesses, remember, I was prepared for this, because their solution is the Brigham Cabal conspiracy. So what I did is I went and found all of the witnesses that have nothing to do with Brigham Young, like Sidney Rigdon. And it's up to them to explain why those people were all lying.
Okay, cool. So we have a buttload of super chats that we want to catch up on right now. Brittany, keep to the chats. Catch us up.
Okay, Matthew X says, I received my WardRadio hat. I'll be the first to bench press 315 in a WardRadio hat tomorrow.
Oh, snap. We got to see a video.
Nice.
Is that like hard or what?
That's
315 pounds?
And I'm joking.
yeah, that's
Okay.
pretty impressive. If you can
It's
bench your
difficult.
body weight, that's actually considered impressive. So that would be like me benching my body weight.
Okay, I was
So,
trying to be like legally
okay.
blonde and be like, what, like it's hard?
Oh,
But-
okay, cool. Rock on.
Anyway,
Hit it.
Unity Spirit says the priesthood keys are alive and well, or there was another apostasy. I don't see a middle ground on that. Thanks for driving that point home.
Okay. All
That
right.
was a good one.
Yeah.
Dylan Williams, my problem with the argument of Brigham waiting until 1852 for 132 to be public is that it ignores all the things that were happening. Joseph's death, crossing the plains, building up Utah, etc. A lot was happening at the time.
And if they had released it earlier, they would have been killed. You guys realize, like, in the they didn't release it until they got outside of the borders of the United States. That's why they were running away. They were going to die. So, like, you guys don't think, like, one of the things y'all got to remember, there's a reason they all moved out west, outside of the borders of the United States, to where polygamy was not going to be persecuted or prosecuted. Like, are we not making the connection here? We all thought we just went for a walk across the plains for fun.
No. People get it. I think the average person understands that totally.
I would never walk across the plains for fun.
Yeah, that's
Not
true.
do that.
All right, next super chat, babe. Hit it.
Carolyn Wright Gaines
Ooh, Carolyn Wright Gaines music.
says, thank
Yeah.
you all for being here. Thanks,
Oh,
Carolyn.
awesome.
That's so sweet.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Ben here, I think. When are we going to get that WardRadio polygamous pride flag? 2 more days. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
I got this.
Hey, well, dude, if you think about
There you
it,
go.
wait a second. Would
No.
what? No, hold on.
Luke.
Would a
Garden, where are
polygamous
you going
pride-
with this?
Hey, would a polygamous pride flag not fit within, the context of the celebration of
It's true. Love
I
and
guess
let love.
yeah,
Love is
it-
love, guys.
Love is
Mhm.
love,
The more love, the better.
Does the current flag not cover polyamory in some way on there?
Well,
Does-
that's
I don't
It's
know.
got-
Polyamory,
Does it
but you
fall
can't be,
under
like,
the-
actually committed to the people that you're sleeping with? Like, that's not
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not pride related. way too monogamous.
Savage,
Way
too close to
man.
us.
Savage.
I
Way
am
too
not touching
traditional.
this.
That would be really fun. Well, you know how Pints with Aquinas, he's selling those T-shirts that says something like "Take back the month," and he wants you to, like, I don't know, read your scriptures more during June or something. I don't know what their initiative is, but I've seen it and I remember it from last year. Jacob Hansen many times has said, if I remember the quote correctly, Jacob, our church was so much cooler when 30-year-old polygamists ran it. What did you say again?
It's something along those lines. We had a bunch of 30-year-old polygamists. We definitely were a lot more bold.
A lot more based. Okay, so maybe that could be a quote that we just put on a flag, and like Pints with Aquinas wants to take back June. That could be the Jacob Hansen polygamy pride flag.
Let me make
You know
a
what's
quick
weird,
comment
actually,
on
to
this
think
whole
about?
thing, just so
What?
everybody knows. I got to put this out there. This is very important. When I'm joking and stuff about polygamy stuff, here's the reality, though. Okay, I don't like polygamy. I think that polygamy is an incredible sacrifice that people have been called on to make in very particular circumstances.
That's fair.
And only in those circumstances has it been justified. Okay. I don't think that polygamy is the ideal system by any stretch of the imagination. In the debate, was very clear. Jacob, too, actually lays out the norm. It basically rips on polygamy. And then there's this sort of like but there may be instances where the Lord will command something like this for you to do. Okay. That is the position of the church. And so for the women who struggle with this, especially, although after getting married, I think all of us men, you start to realize, like, whoa, that would be tough. If you just want sex, like, there's a lot of easier ways to get sex than to have to marry all these women and try and manage a giant household of women and all of that. Like, that's
And take care of all the children and the financial obligations of literally being morally responsible for.
That's the whole thing. I do not want anyone to think that while I'm arguing in favor of polygamy, I am arguing for what is true about the historical record. And what I believe was an incredibly difficult thing for Joseph and for all involved. And I will be the first one to admit, I don't believe that Joseph or all of the rest of them, that they all executed it perfectly in all cases. I think that there were mistakes made. But I also think that what came out of plural marriage is the founding generation of this church who had a unique level of consecration and who to this day are having an effect on our individual lives. When you think about how many people have blessed your life who are actually descendants of those people, and the core of our church to this day are still the descendants of that generation. The Lord used polygamy to raise up a special generation of people who were uniquely committed to the gospel. And so I have a testimony that the Lord inspired it, but I do not have a belief that it is the norm or a positive good that we all should be striving for, that I long for to come back. Heck no. So just want to make that totally
well,
clear.
Also, it's because you're short, so you wouldn't get any of the tall, slender ones. You'd get whatever you'd get the B team, bro.
Have you not seen Erica? She's a goddess.
Yeah, she's a goddess under 5'2". You know what I'm saying?
What?
And so,
she's actually 5'7",
Yeah,
she's taller than you. So she's taller than you.
No, not taller than you.
So you're that. So she can't wear heels to church on Sunday unless you wear those really thick Doc Martens, right?
Carden, it's like you can't tell what anyone's height is under 6 feet because you're just so high up in the air that they all look the same to you.
See, you got to stick with Kwaku's plan. He only dates dancers. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't have to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, all right. We got the rest of the super chats. We got
Kwaku has something to add after.
Oh. Do you want me to go first?
Well, I really hope this debate happens again with Michelle and Jacob doing the historical, and I think it'd be fun to have Jacob Isbell debate like someone who says no, the scriptures actually say polygamy. Here's why. I think that would have been. I think people would watch both of those, and it might land better. But I also think it's crazy. Just a fact. Heber J. Grant was the prophet when Russell and Nelson was a kid. And Heber J. Grant was a polygamist.
Yep.
Wow.
Everyone should know this. Just the implications of if Jacob Isbell was correct. That also means that the first 5 presidents of our church were liars, murderers, and part of a giant conspiracy. The first 5 presidents of our church who all knew Joseph Smith personally and who all said that he practiced plural marriage. So you're going to have to, you don't get to keep the church and embrace Jacob Isbell's position. They're incompatible with one another.
Okay.
Can I say one thing, though?
On that front.
I want to say one thing, and everyone's going to torch me for this. Everyone's going to torch me. The Hiram Smith bullet exiting here thing is a little bit sus. That's all I'm going to say. That's a really weirdly sus kind of thing where I'm like,
Again, in any historical record, you can find anomalies and things that make you go, But the problem is you don't get to just account for that. You have to account for all of the other data related to it, including the testimony of the mob who literally were standing outside. Joseph didn't die in that jail cell. He died outside after he fell out the window. And then you have the mob literally claimed credit for it in a newspaper.
And
Jacob, I don't like the fact that you're saying data like Dan McClellan. Why have you become a commie liberal progmo on us? You do one debate and suddenly
because actually
the data,
that's the reason I don't like Dan. I tell people this. If you want to know what Dan doesn't follow the data. Here's what Dan cherry picks the data he likes. Here's how you can tell if what Dan McClellan's going to say. Will it piss off conservative evangelical Christians? If it will, That's what his argument will be every single time. Now, Latter-day Saints, we like that some of the time because sometimes the conservative evangelicals are wrong. And so Dan, has he ever said anything that makes conservative evangelicals happy? No. And that's what he does. That's his game. You can predict it. He's not following the data. He's following his ideology.
Okay, cool. So Brad, I can tell, wants to say something, and then Brittany's got to catch up on Super Chats.
Okay. Just one thing that drives me nuts about the who killed Joseph Smith thing. First off, what the heck is up with the mob? How come there's a mob there? That I don't know how you go into this without addressing the mob who shows up, storms the actual jail, and then just leaves. Like, what the heck was going on with it? Okay, so that is one. Second, I think Isbell actually said this in the debate. He said, well, the accounts said that they were armed with muskets, and then pretends like that means they couldn't have possibly also have had pistols, right? Like, what kind of logic is that? Like, you have John Taylor and Willard Richards look out the window and they see these guys with muskets because that's what they're carrying in their hands, and they have their muskets on their belts.
Well,
like,
also,
and how about this one? But you have to remember, you're dealing with Jacob Isbell. Jacob Isbell thinks that Brigham Young
come
went
on,
back
be
to
nice,
the
bro.
to create 132.
Come on, bro,
Let
be
him
nice.
talk, let him talk.
Okay, keep going.
That is being nice.
Okay.
I didn't hear
That's what he
Jacob
said in the debate.
Yeah, you're
You
just
go watch
repeating
it.
Now-
what he said.
To bring it back a little bit more into the subject at hand, though, with the debate, this is another thing that I thought was really fascinating, and I just wanted to bring this up out of my own desire to bring it up because I kept thinking about it. Jacob Isbell brought up something interesting around Jacob 2:30, specifically calling out Abraham and Isaac. And what I thought was really interesting was when we last had Don Bradley on.
Do you mean
sorry,
Doctrine
not
and Covenants
230.
132?
No. Jacob 2. Just Jacob 2 in general brings up Solomon and David.
Yeah, not Abraham and Isaac.
Not Abraham. Yeah, sorry. Thank you for catching me on that one. So Jacob 2 brings up David and Solomon as a bad example of polygamy. And this was fascinating because I had a really good chat with Don Bradley on the drive back from the last time that we recorded. And he just walked through DNC 132 with me. And we just chatted about it the entire time through. And he's like, look at these interesting patterns
Lucky.
here. It was awesome, dude. We need to do an episode of just that with Don Bradley going over it. But one thing that was really fascinating was there's levels of nuance in DNC 132 that I never recognized were there. And one thing that he points out is that it speaks positively of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but then speaks negatively of Moses, David, and Solomon. And it's actually very much in agreement with the things that Jacob 2 says David and Solomon got wrong. DNC 132 is in agreement that those things were not good examples of how to live this. It's a really fascinating thing that I hadn't necessarily recognized. And from the way that Jacob Isbell was talking about it, I don't know if he recognizes that about DNC 132 either. And so that was a really fascinating thing for me to learn from Don Bradley there.
Well, can I hit? I want to hit on one thing.
Okay, and then we got to end this. We got to end the whole debate thing and move on to the cool hymns. And we also have some memes from Jonah. So yeah, wrap up your thought.
Let me hit this one more because I didn't get to hit this in the debate enough, I don't think. But you have to put yourself in Joseph's shoes, okay? Joseph was practicing plural marriage behind the scenes. And then all of a sudden, other people like John C. Bennett, got that right this time, John C. Bennett begins to kind of bastardize the practice and use it for nefarious purposes. Unauthorized polygamy, even after Joseph's death, even in the Brigham Young era, was a problem that had to be fought against. So real quick, think about this. You're in Joseph's shoes. You need to condemn what John C. Bennett is doing and what others are doing, while at the same time not condemn what you're doing and keep it secret. Okay, this is where when you look at the things where Joseph Smith kind of condemns things or Hiram does, you need to keep that in mind. Now, one last thing in regards to this one blew me away. In 1842, after the whole John C. Bennett thing, or while that was going on, they wrote this letter to the Relief Society. And in that letter, they said, it basically says, like, don't practice polygamy. Don't, listen to anybody, even if they're a patriarch or an apostle or anything. But then they put in there, unless it be a message delivered to you by our own mouth by actual revelation and commandment. What the freak? Why would you put that exception in there? Like, that's weird, Joseph. Unless I say so. Oh, by the way, that seems to coincide exactly with what Jacob 2 says. It says, don't practice polygamy unless it's by commandment from God. And so here you have contemporaneous records of Joseph Smith very clearly, if you look at it, condemning what John C. Bennett is doing, but then not doing that. Now, here's the other thing. If I'm not mistaken, this is one I need to double check. I believe in the actual official records of the Relief Society, not this original letter, they took that out, the unless part. Why? Because it was getting too close to like admitting it. But the original letter actually contains this exception rule that Joseph had.
Okay.
Now they're going to go say, that's all made up documents later. That's the only way they can get around it. So anyway.
Okay, awesome. You won, Jacob. You won. Slaughterhouse. It was awesome. Good job.
I do have one question about this. I haven't spoken about the debate too much here, Cardin.
Okay,
So just one brief question.
Okay.
Is Michelle Stone, when she was saying your sourcing was bad on something, was that the quote that she was saying the sourcing was bad on?
No.
Or was what was she talking about?
So here's what Michelle, it was kind of an odd moment, honestly. Michelle comes up and asks me a question if I know what the source was for a particular thing. Now, I have 45 slides. Wait, I'm up to 45 slides in that slideshow. She was asking about the source on one of those slides, and I didn't remember it off the top of my head. And she starts going like, well, I know who did. Now, it is true. It is a secondhand account, but it's a very credible secondhand account that's given. And it
which
had
source
to do,
was it though?
It had to do with Agnes Smith, the story of when the RLDS missionaries went out to visit her in in California, to basically say, hey, you've left the church, like now spill the beans. Well, she didn't spill the beans. And someone else had been talking with her niece about that whole thing that happened, or her daughter, I can't remember which, and then they had reported back what had happened. So it was a secondhand account, but it's a fairly credible secondhand account in my opinion. And it's not like you can't use secondhand accounts. And she just wanted to point out that I didn't remember the source and that it was a secondhand account. So it's like, all right.
Okay, awesome. Brittany, take it away. Catch us up on a bunch of super chats.
Okay, Jonah Barnes, you know him?
Hey, Jonah Barnes.
Yeah, Jonah.
He says 30,000 subs. Like the stream, you heathen.
Whoa! Are we at 30,000 subs now?
During the live stream?
Yeah.
During the live stream?
Yeah.
Oh,
we were like 15 behind right before, so that's pretty cool.
Okay,
it happens. Like, come on, you guys hit 30,000 subs. Woo woo!
Yeah. Are you sure?
Also, y'all got too excited, so you didn't let me finish talking. But he said Hanson won, so there you go.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Next super chat. Hit it.
I think it's also from Jonah.
Okay.
Yep, he says, debates are won with memes. Don't forget them.
Okay, so here's a bunch of memes. If you guys want to look inside the WardRadio chat, if you hover on top of the general, there's these subcategories that I don't even know how to create them, but Jonah knows how to create them. So I'll just burn through these really fast on the screen so everybody can see them. Here's the Hanson versus Isbell debate with the classic Lord of the Rings meme. That's a good one. Don't quite get that one, but I've seen this one before. Isbell, you have to explain this to me Explain this one to me. Isbell, therapeutic deism, Section 132 Isbell, therapeutic deism. Okay.
Basically, he wants his religion to be real nice, soft, and without any rough edges like polygamy. And unfortunately, Section 132 is there.
Oh, that's savage. That's funny. Okay. Concubines. Oh, I thought this one was funny. And I didn't realize how well Jacob Isbell's face goes on to the dude from the History Channel from Ancient Aliens. Sokolos, I think is his name, right? Sokolos. By the way, I used to love that show and straight up binge watch that show like all day long. And I think all of those guys are awesome. Then this one's kind of funny. Jonah Barnes says he just loves polygamy as the girl is rolling over and looking at her husband. And the husband says, how could John Taylor shoot himself 4 times ... with a flintlock? Wait, did John Taylor shoot himself 4 times?
John Taylor was shot during that altercation. So again, the theory is that not only did they murder Joseph Smith when the mob was there, but John Taylor gets shot at the same time, or maybe he shot himself.
And my only comment why I just do not believe this, the biggest blind spot that I have of the whole who shot Joseph Smith argument, there's a lot of really cool like ballistic points they bring up and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, the macrocosm is this. Surrounding Nauvoo, people fled. When they found out that the mob had finally made good on the promises that they had said they were going to carry out, and that the mob killed Joseph Smith, they were afraid that the largest standing army, you know what I'm saying, within a 500-mile radius was going to go on the motherfucking warpath and burn down every non-Mormon settlement that had ever given harborage to the mob that they knew had been persecuting them for months. Like, people literally fled. And if they would have found out, like, oh, dude, okay, so look, dude, the Mormons were fighting amongst themselves. You know, Joseph Smith got shot by his own guys. We can rest easy. This movement's over. No. For 100-mile radius, people knew what happened. You know what I'm saying? And these theories didn't really start happening until the RLDS Church had broken off from the Mormon Church, and there was this succession crises, and people had to explain their origin stories and justify why they were the real leaders and so on and so forth. And so the fact that people fled, to me, is a really, really difficult thing to overcome in the historical narrative. I know that you can say, oh, well, if people are mistaken off of incorrect news, then incorrect news can spread like wildfire. We all live through COVID. And it's like, okay, cool. I could see that, but that's a tough one to overcome. Next meme. How can we explain section 132? First person says concubines. Second one says it feels icky. Third one says deal with the historical record. And then they just throw them out the window. That one's pretty hilarious. And then my temple sealed family with a stick driving the bike, throwing out section 132, and then, oh no, the bike is on the ground. That one's pretty funny. That was pretty funny. Brad, can you see these? You haven't laughed at one yet. And I know
I can't see him at all.
Oh, you see, I thought you just had an elevated sense of humor and that you were just tough to please.
I'm watching them as you're pulling them up on this screen.
Okay. Then here's the classic astronaut meme. Wait, they're anti-temple, anti-priesthood, anti-Mormons? Always have been, with the gun. That's kind of funny. Yeah, I do wish there would be a little bit more of an open pitch as to what the other implications of this mean. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, here's the classic comedian, temple ceilings, Jacob Isbell. How could Brigham Young do this? So savage. That's a funny one. And then finally, last one, the classic Jaws meme. Jonah Barnes says, we're going to need a bigger conspiracy theory instead of we're going to need a bigger boat. That is pretty funny. I give Jonah. Oh, and now this is the last one. Funny one. In this house, we believe the earth is flat, Cain is Bigfoot, and Joseph Smith was not a polygamist.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? That's actually kind of a cool one.
Okay. Some of these are trashing on the people who are questioning. So I want to say one thing that I think is important. I want to try to find a way for us to thread the needle on healing the discourse around this, because I'm seeing it getting increasingly contentious.
That's fair. Very fair.
And I'm not a fan of it. I don't think that it's helpful for us coming together in a Zion purpose of finding what's true and coming together with one another with one heart and one mind in a love of God, right? I'm a little frustrated when I see, like, I want to find a better way to refer to people who are questioning this than like polygamy deniers, right? Because that feels like Holocaust
You know,
deniers.
Brad, when I was writing the news story about this, I was struggling with the same thing. I was like, how do I write this in a news article in a compact way without using the term polygamy denier?
I'm gonna push. I'm gonna push back. This
let me finish my
theory
thought.
is absurd, and it should be laughed.
Well, hold
out.
on. Let him finish. Let Brad finish.
Because I think what happens is if we approach this in a way that we are trying to just like laugh at people for asking a question, we're shoving them onto the side of people who may not actually have the best sourcing in their arguments. I don't know if they are missing things or if they're actually nefarious about what they're doing, but I think we end up kind of giving them people who are interested in what they have to say. They're asking sincere questions. And then if we treat it as though no one looking at this is ever asking a sincere question, they're like, but my question's sincere, right? And I think we shoot ourselves in the foot on being able to reach everybody who is trying to figure out and get to the bottom of this, right? If we just beat them over the head with historians have said that this is it, without walking them through it and going through the work of saying, hey, look, we are in the same boat. And Jacob, you do this a little bit of going through and saying, yeah, I don't like polygamy. It makes me uncomfortable as well. Here's the deal, though. When I look at the actual sources, here's what comes to light, right? So I want to try to find a way to defrag this. And I don't think it's only people saying polygamy deniers that are doing it. I am seeing people in the group of like the Doctrine of Christ, is that what they're calling it? Movement, do the exact same thing where they start saying polygamy lovers was one of them that I've seen, or people who are like the accusers of Joseph, right? They're doing
the traitors,
they're doing a dumb thing with the way that we're labeling the people involved in the conversation that makes it impossible for us to actually talk objectively about this, or at least as objectively as we possibly can, in a way that I think will be constructive.
Yeah, and also just from a producer's perspective, I have nothing but mad respect for Jacob Isbell because he got in that rink and he subjected himself to public ridicule, judgment. He put his ideas out there, and you can't produce a debate that doesn't happen. And he had the guts to do that. And as somebody who's been on enemy territory with Kwaku and with Brad Whitbeck and so on and so forth, he kind of had a home court advantage. That's why I have a lot of respect for you for showing up as the away team, shall we say? You know what I'm saying? But I definitely am super grateful that he's willing to engage, do these cool wrestling matches with you, do these cool debates with you and stuff like that. So I really see, this is why we have Brown around. He reminds us of the higher law, you know. So say what you got to say, and then Brittany's got to read super chats.
Okay, just a quick thing on that. Obviously, I said it at the debate. I love Jacob Isbell as a brother. I love Michelle Stone as a sister. Like, they are children of God who I love. But there are ideas out there that the problem with, if you don't chuckle at them, people will begin to think that they should be taken seriously, when I don't think certain ideas should be taken seriously. When someone comes up and tells you that the earth is flat, you should kind of chuckle a little bit. There should be a level, there should be a level of taboo towards ideas that just have so little standing. There's a reason that, and I think you got to be careful. I think you got to look at the arguments. But at some point, when you presented all this evidence and the people just don't want it, at some point you say, well, what's left except for to just be like, look, we've been through this. This is absurd. This is silly. And you make memes to laugh about it, as we just did. Like, did Jonah do something wrong by making memes about absurd things? I think you actually have to have laughter at things that are absurd, because otherwise people begin to think, oh, well, these are serious ideas. Like, gender can be changed. Like, that's a serious idea that we really should take seriously. And it's like, no, we shouldn't. We should look at people like that and be like, that's a silly thing to say.
So Jacob, let me put it this way. What I'm advocating for is not, let's legitimize this discussion. What I am looking for is, how do we de-escalate the language being used in the discussion to help people who actually are sincere questioners get on the right track, right? Like,
I can see that.
Go to the scriptures for a second, right? If you have Ammon before King Lamoni.
What's that scripture? Because I can pull it up on scripture notes.
Oh, yeah, pull it up.
Oh, what do you know,
18:28.
Dude, if you deliver
25.
on this, Brad, I will be so impressed. You say
well,
Alma,
it's Alma 18:27 is one of my favorite scriptures. That's King Lamoni's answer.
If you
to the
even
question,
have
right?
the chapter right, my mind will be blown away.
No, I have the chapter right.
So
I
bring it
can't
up.
wait when Brad's an apostle and we all get pulled into his office and we're like, but we knew you from WardRadio, right? We're cool.
Dude, that's so not gonna happen. But-
We can start getting some of that money, that more good foundation money.
Oh
Exactly.
my
You're
God.
gonna hook us
Good
up, right,
stuff.
Brad?
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Oh yeah, didn't Bill Reel say that we've been?
Yeah,
Apparently.
Man, I'd love to see that check.
They are full on convinced that we are all stooges of the Morgan Foundation. We couldn't say this kind of stuff if we were in the Morgan Foundation. Are you kidding me?
So here's the thing that I want to get across. I think there are people who might sincerely question this, and we need to respond to them in the right spirit. And here's where I'm going with Alma 18, verse 27, and just the story of Ammon and Lamoni. You have Ammon say to King Lamoni, hey, do you believe in God? And Lamoni says, I don't know what that means. Right? If he just laughed at him from that, or if when he says, believe thou there's a great spirit, yeah. And it's like, you're an idiot because the great spirit isn't real. Like, that wouldn't have worked.
Right? That was verse 24. By the way, that was verse 24.
Very clear. I'm not saying that we go and laugh at anyone who has questions, obviously. And there are sincere questions. There are weird things you can ask. But at some point, this gets beyond a sincere questioning to where
that's fair.
People don't care anymore. They're not after the truth. They have a particular conclusion. They ignore all the other data. And at some point, there's a cult. Like, you guys didn't come to believe that Joseph Smith was a polygamist because you guys had done all the research. Neither did I. Neither did any of us. What happens is you believe what the culture generally says is true, and you don't question it until you are provided with good reasons to question it, right? And so the problem is that the culture itself determines what ideas we should actually take seriously. And I believe that this idea has been thoroughly enough debunked by so many people, it needs to go into the category of like, this is silly, guys. Like, there's a reason no one takes this seriously.
I think anybody who is questioning about this and trying to figure out what they think should get a hold of this new book, Secret Covenants, the new insights on early Mormon polygamy.
Okay.
Edited by Cheryl L. Bruno. It's a group of historians have put together answers around what's going on with early polygamy. I think my favorite thing that I've been reading right now is starting on page 45. There's a guy, Mark Tensmeyer, does the best breakdown of all of the historical record around how people came to the conclusion that Joseph Smith was a polygamist in the first place. Because I think there's a reason that this happens. All of the, like, this conversation isn't new. You pointed this out in the debate, Jacob. This was discussed in the 1800s. It shows up every 20 or so years, right? Denver Snuffer, this was one of his sticking points with it, right? This is something where I think people lose track of the reasoning that the historians have. And then when we start giving them, well, the historian said it and the culture says that you shouldn't question it, they might dig in a little bit more, right? Especially if they're feeling like they've been pushed away by the culture before. So my key goal in all of this is, how do we find a way to be peacemakers in this conversation and focus on Zion, right? Being of one heart and one mind with everybody that is part of this church who's trying to find the truth. And I think that if I were to rephrase that in a more modern way, being of one heart and one mind would be having a shared desire and a shared goal, right?
Okay.
And if our shared desire is to come closer to Christ and the shared goal is to bring us all as a people back to Jesus, I think if we can then start from that level with some of the people who are questioning and say, are these your goals, right? Is that where you're trying to go? And then we build from where we agree, like Ammon did with King Lamoni, I think will drastically improve the way our conversations go with these questions online.
Awesome. This is why we love you, Brad. You're taking us to places we don't go by ourselves. Thank you very much.
Sorry, that was long.
No, it's all good. It was good. Brittany, can you catch us up on Super Chats?
Yes. DJ7223 says, I agree polygamy sucked, but was necessary. My third great-grandfather took a second wife. Isabel essentially saying my third great-grandpa lived in open rebellion against God. I say, back up, man. Y'all are great, FYI.
Okay, next one. Hit it.
Scrolling. Diamond Dave says, congrats on 30,000 subs. Got my patriarchal blessing and now in temple prep classes for the Melchizedek priesthood and temple. Hope you all are well.
All right.
That's
Good
awesome.
job,
So
Diamond
cool.
Dave. Excellent, my man.
That's
Excellent.
like the coolest part about being a part of this channel is
That's so
interacting
awesome.
with those kind of stories from people who watch. That's neat.
Awesome. Hit it. Okay, Brittany.
Chris says, fact. When those who deny Joseph practice plural marriage, what happens when they get to the other side and see they are wrong? Will they be able to accept Joseph as a prophet?
It depends on how hardcore their pride is. We know pride is going to be one of the hardest things to get over when you don't have a body and the ability to self-discipline, so on and so forth. So yeah, that's a good, interesting question. Next one by Angela Lewis. Brittany.
Yeah, because I don't know. I'm not on the other side yet, so I don't know how that's gonna go. Let's see. Angela Lewis. Once I knew a guy who insisted that God commanded Joseph to take plural wives. He wouldn't, so God killed him. Jacob, do you know the origin of that belief?
I don't. Again, I'm gonna just tell everyone in this: if you want the quick route to solving this, all you got to do is figure out where Section 132 came from, because the amount of he said, she said, and stories and all that kind of stuff out there. The bottom line is we have Section 132. It came from somewhere. And when you go, I always say, this is the thing you ask anyone who denies polygamy. You say, what happened in the August 1843 Nauvoo High Council meeting? That is the sticking point, because everything in the historical record says that 132 was read in that meeting. And so, yeah.
Okay, so
and then
here
it's quoted
is.
in the next, and then it's quoted in the Nauvoo Expositor based on the people that were in that meeting, like Austin Cowles, who was in the meeting, and then provided an affidavit that explained what it was. So it's
Okay, awesome. And if you want to check out Section 132 yourself, boom shakalaka, you can use scripture notes. What do you know? See what I did there? Freaking
Nice.
Nobody saw that one coming. Even Luke Hansen is impressed. Okay, so no more super chats, right? We're right now we're in
Well, there are two more.
Oh, there are two more. Okay, hit us up, catch us up on super chats,
don't
and then we're
see-
going into the hymns, baby. We're going into the hymns.
Okay. Well, I don't see a note with this one, but James King sent a super chat.
Oh, thank you very much.
I
James
think
King.
it might be he might be wanting us to read just above.
Oh.
He left a note. He left a comment.
Oh, I see it. About Jacob Isbell.
Yeah.
Jacob Isbell literally led some of my family away, some of my family astray. I'm sorry, but there's no room for being nice to him.
Well, I don't think it's fair to say there's no room for being nice. We do not mock sincerely held religious beliefs in that in our channel. That is my personal ethos. Whether you're, I don't know, a Scientologist, a Buddhist, a man on the moon, or so on and so forth. And from everything that we can tell, these people that we've engaged in, they have sincerely held religious beliefs. Now, fortunately, these have happened in modern enough times where we think they can be assessed archaeologically, they can be assessed sociologically, they can be assessed and argued historically by people that are very credentialed, such as Don Bradley. Brian C. Hales has done some great work. Brad's studied a ton, and now Jacob Hansen has a whole entire slideshow that he has made open source and available for everybody. So this is one of the few times where a sincerely held religious belief can be questioned in a safe context by other people who also believe that Joseph Smith was a good person, that the Book of Mormon is true, and a lot of these other things that you have a common ground on. So yeah, it's dicey. I can see why you would approach this very emotionally, especially because some people do not take it well, and I do take issue with some of the other later arguments, especially once you start getting into like the wild accusations like satanic ritual abuse. And I mean, as a person that's literally been accused of everything at this point by ex-Mormon anti-Mormons and now evangelical anti-Mormons, and Bill Real yesterday telling me where I get my funding from, racial slurs I haven't used, even though Kwaku's been like, Brad and Kwaku have been like my most longest co-hosts. Like, it's just like the absurd claims that have been made about me that I know for a fact aren't true, been made about you that I know for a fact aren't true, Brittany, make it so that I'm really dubious and I view as destructive some of the other claims that we make, but you have to get over the polygamy ones first. So anyway, keep going. Last super chat.
Boston Barham says, what are your thoughts on Don Bradley agreeing with Michelle that Jacob 230 is not an exception for polygamy?
I have a response to this.
Ooh.
Hit it, Brad.
When you agree with everything that Don Bradley says, then I will too. Because I know that these people who are pulling this up, they're not agreeing with Don Bradley on whether or not Joseph practiced polygamy. They're pulling this one time that Don, in what looks to me to be a moment when he's trying to build bridges and find understanding with Michelle, comes across as saying, hey, maybe there's room for 230 being not being an exception for polygamy, right? As now definitively, now Don Bradley said it, so it doesn't mean that. I mean, I think Don Bradley is awesome. I think he is a very smart man with a ton of depth of knowledge, and I've also seen him change his mind. And in fact, in the car ride, we talked about Jacob 230. He didn't talk about it like this. So I wonder if he'll change his mind back to the way that it was when we were on our drive before. And it's in flux, like I think Don's an amazingly smart dude. No one's right about everything.
Can I make a quick comment on that?
Yes, hit it.
So it says, for if I will raise up seed unto me, I will command my people. Okay. So it's saying, if I will raise up seed, I will command my people. I always want to ask the question, okay, so if you're not raising up seed, what will you command your people? Like the phrase itself, it implies that this is an exception to some sort of a norm. It's saying, if I will raise up seed unto me, I will command my people. So they're saying, I'm asking, like, command what? Monogamy? So what do you command at the other times? Like, it doesn't make sense to say, for if I will raise up to seed to me, I will command my people to be monogamous. Because it's like, aren't we already commanded to be monogamous? Like, why would this be if I will raise up seed, then I'll command my people?
To me, looking at it within its full context, it seems pretty clear to me that it is other people will hearken to the command of monogamy. Otherwise, or God will command them to do something new, right, with polygamy. Otherwise, they should hearken unto these things, which is the normal law of monogamy.
Yeah, which is what he was talking about. These things refers to all the things that he's been talking about, which is monogamy.
Yes. Okay, cool. Awesome. And also, if you end up believing everything that Don Bradley says and you agree with Don Bradley and all that other stuff because he's the smartest, biggest, coolest, awesomest guy in the room, the historian with the biggest credentials and gravitas and all that other stuff, guess what? You'll be an active member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Also true.
You know what I'm saying? It's there's that. Okay. So, all right. We are 1 hour and 22 minutes into this live stream and finally going to make good on the promise to talk about the new hymn book. Okay, so who's the authority on this one? I think it's going to be Luke Hansen, because Luke Hansen has the best voice. He's the most musically erudite, although I have heard Brad sing. It was in a shower once, and he didn't know that I was recording him. That's available on Spotify and where all fine CDs are sold. It's called Shower Hymns. No, I'm just kidding. Although, you know, it's really funny that I did find out while I was in Saudi Arabia, and Brad can back me up on this one. Hayden's brother Jackson Paul is a Swiftie.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
He's
Big
a
time
Swiftie.
Who
Time.
isn't a Swiftie?
Oh, no.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, just start singing a Taylor Swift song and straight up Jackson Paul he'll start stitching a duet with you on TikTok. I'm not kidding you.
Dang.
So yeah, big time Swiftie over there at the Stick of Joseph. I don't know if a bunch of girls are going to go and subscribe to that channel now, and not just because he's so handsome. So, all right, tell us what's going on. Luke, with the new hymns of the church, my man. What happened today?
All right. So 2 months ago, the church, well, gosh, it was like 6 years ago, the church announced that they were going to be making this hymn book. And they've been working on it for so long. I actually was at the fair conference like a year ago, and somebody recognized me from, at the time, Midnight Mormons. And we were chatting, and they said, "Oh yeah, I'm in the choir. I'm in the Tabernacle choir." I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool." Da, da, da. Somehow we got onto the new hymn book, and they said, like, "Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. Like, it's just so hard." We don't hear anything about it. I don't think it's gonna happen. Thankfully, it appears to still be happening. And 2 months ago, they said we're gonna release a dozen hymns on May 30th, and they released 13. So we got a baker's dozen hymns. I think they said about a dozen, but now we've got a baker's dozen hymns that dropped yesterday. I listened to them at like 1 a.m. last night when I should have gone to bed. So,
by the way, I am 100% justified in telling the audience that you are the one that should be leading this part of the live stream and the conversation, because you're the only guy I know that would shirk going to bed just to listen to what the new hymns are at 1 a.m. That is true dedication to the sonic defiance that are the hymns to our Lord. So keep going, my man. Tell us what's up.
It's the only time I've listened to an album all the way through since like high school with whatever Coldplay album came out in my junior year. So it's a big day for me.
That's funny. All right, so tell us what's up.
So if you could type in hymns for home and church.
Okay, type it into what?
Into search. Into your Google Firefox, DuckDuckGo, whatever you have.
The newsroom article, I can post it in the Discord right now.
Sure. Post it in the Discord.
Could do that one.
And what am I typing in, Luke? Or am I just going to this in the Discord?
Hymns for home and church. And it should be, you know what? Let me just help you out here.
Hymns for home and church, LDS, enter. And now it says hymns for home and church.
I'm curious if people in the chat have like comments, what they liked, what they didn't like.
Dude,
all right, I gave it to you in the Discord.
Glad that number one on their list that they announced.
Yeah.
Come thou fount of every blessing.
Yeah, I see that right there.
I love that hymn.
I see
they know
right
their
there.
Audience. Like they knew what we came for. They gave it to us right up front.
Okay, like
we sang it in my seminary class this morning.
Like, I'm glad it's in the hymn book, but, like, I feel like Wards are just going to butcher that song. Like, I'm sorry. Like, the Tabernacle Choir can sing it, but Wards, like, when we're all sitting there, like, not really enthusiastic about it, I don't know if we're going to...
Well, maybe that's just because we have a not enthusiastic Ward.
Maybe.
Brittany, I will say, with the seminary students this morning, it was more challenging than I thought it was going to be. We did all right, but it was...
Wait. What was challenging about it?
I don't know. It's a tricky song to sing if you haven't sung it.
Fount. It's the fount.
But
you got to do
that. You just have like a little piano in there, and just
music.
like And
I kind of thought the same thing. I thought, oh no, this won't be hard, but it kind of was a little off. I felt
gonna
like
be
maybe it was because the recording of it is a little bit fast that we used, so it played it kind of faster, but. Yeah, it was harder than I expected.
Okay,
yeah.
Luke, keep going, man. Keep going. What else is there?
Do you have the
I
link
got
that I pulled up?
There's Come Thou
I can't
Fount.
see what you're doing. So
okay,
so we're on Come Thou Fount, and then you can press the little arrow that goes next.
Yeah, then there's When the Savior Comes Again.
Okay, When the Savior Comes Again. This is like a primary-ish kind of song. It's when the Savior comes again, he will cleanse the earth, and then in glory he will reign as king. It goes something like that.
No, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know that
it is
well done, though, Luke.
2019.
Luke, you sang on a live. You've got some cojones.
Thank you. Poorly after listening to it twice.
Okay,
it's nice. It's not my.
A bunch of them were primary hymns. Like several of them were.
Because what the hymn book is doing is going to be a collection of about 500 hymns. That's all the hymns. So you got like your Christmas stuff, your Easter stuff, your sacrament stuff, your congregation stuff, and your children's stuff, and then just kind of like other ones, and they're just all together in like a 500 song book.
Okay,
is the idea of what's going to happen.
Okay,
so,
before you go to the next one,
nice.
Before you go to the next one,
dial, but yes.
Brittany, catch us up on Super Chats really fast before we go to the next hymn.
Okay. And I gotta hurry because my phone's gonna die.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we left off on Rex Good.
Yep, hit it.
Okay. Let me see. In about 1997, my daughter and I sang Star Bright in Sacrament meeting. In about 2003, I sang His Eye is on the Sparrow. A woman at church last week said, hey, they put your song in the new hymnal. That's
Nice.
cool. I love Eyes on the Sparrow. That's a great song.
Okay.
I've never heard that one.
That's in there.
That's a good one.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, when the Savior comes again, primary-ish, and appears to be one of the submissions. It's text and music by Lane Johnson in 2019. So this is one of the new guys that was submitted, I think, for the hymn book itself.
Okay.
They also put the scripture at the top. If you look at it, the scripture references are right at the top, right under the title now, which is pretty cool.
Ooh, I like that.
And then they also sometimes have notes on like some of the words that are older, like in Come Thou Fount with Here I Raise My Ebenezer. It gives like a little description of what the heck an Ebenezer is and why one might want to raise one of them.
Oh, that
it's
is
not
kind
talking
of
about
cool.
his
nice.
baby named Ebenezer.
Yeah. So it's a reference to Christmas Carol. With Ebenezer Scrooge, and it's raising him up out of.
You raise up old Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah, from a baby to an
is.
old man. Yeah.
Well,
It's from
here it
Samuel.
is. No, but here it is. Look at right here. It says the prophet Samuel set up a great stone as a memorial to remind his prophet that God had saved them in battle. He called the stone Ebenezer, or the stone of help. 1 Samuel 7:10 through 12. Okay, you were right.
That's
Good
awesome.
job,
And so
Jonah.
that's why it's Here I raise my Ebenezer, hither by thy help I've come. So that's why the words are there.
Okay.
People have that
Good
little
job,
note, so
singer.
they get that.
Every hymn, before we finish, we only got 8 more minutes left. Every hymn, the opening
I gotta
stanza.
sing one bar from every
Yes.
hymn.
Yeah, the opening stanza has to be sung by Luke Hansen. Okay, next one, Luke, hit us.
All right, It Is Well With My Soul. This is a classic. I love these. Music from 1876. And beginning of it goes, when peace like a river attendeth my way. People might recognize that. Beautiful song.
I don't
very
recognize.
poetic.
Why am I just some kind of spiritual
It
troglodyte?
is well with my soul.
You've heard that
It
song.
is well.
That's
It is
popular.
well with my soul.
I don't
Classic.
recognize that. Our congregation sings like 12 hymns, and we rotate, and then
Well,
like
this
we
one
might.
wasn't in there, but now it is.
Okay, all right. Next one. Hit it.
All right, so let's see. Mine is still loading. All right, this one is another primary-ish kind of song and appears to be one of the submissions because the text and music are from 2019.
Like
and
a boss.
And it goes, Jesus walked in wisdom, Jesus grew in truth, showing love to God and man. And it's that kind of deal.
It's
Talking
awesome.
about Jesus and walking with him.
Our primary sang that
Yeah.
song.
I was about to say, you
Yeah.
guys did, so did ours.
Yeah.
My kids sang that one, and it was awesome. It was one of the best like primary performances I've ever seen. Like the kids did a great job with the music, and like it was like not a dry in the house kind of a deal.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah,
a
the
good one.
chorus-
I really like that song,
the
and the
chorus-
message is super solid too.
Yeah, the chorus is, as I walk with Jesus to my home above, he will bless me with his spirit and fill me with his love. Change my heart forever and help me clearly see. I will walk with Jesus and he will walk with me. So,
Dude, did I hear Jacob Hansen in there as well?
Yeah.
Bro.
I think I heard some Jacob Hansen.
Do we
dude.
need to like?
The Hanson 5.
Oh.
The Hanson
Bop,
2.
we need 3 more.
Bop.
Hanson.
Find some more Hansons.
Were you just doing bop, bro? Did I hear
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
by
bop?
Hanson. That makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
by Hanson.
That's awesome. That's hilarious. Okay, then next one. Let's just burn through these. 13. We're on number 5 or 6, right? So go for it, Luke.
His Eye is on the Sparrow. This is from 1905, and it goes, why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? Something like that. And it's talking about his eye is on the sparrow, and so he also watches me.
Why would
is the
my
gist of the
heart
song.
be lonely and long for heaven's home? I'm just guessing. I totally, literally just guessed what the rest of
Turning it
that
into
song.
a sea shanty.
What that song?
And I'm here for it.
Yeah, a sea shanty version. All right, next one, Luke.
This one it's called Think a Sacred Song, and honestly, this one I don't quite get it. I haven't caught the vision of this song because it's just a little tiny 2-verse song that is basically saying that it's good to listen to good music, which is weird. It's almost like it's telling you to go listen to other music. I don't quite get it. But it goes, think a sacred song, the words will give you power. And
think
just
the
a little
melody
tiny
and
kind of
in
primary
that
style
very
song.
hour.
That's cool. That's good.
So is it kind of like choose the right when the choice is placed before you? It's a song about basic morality. Choose to sing nice
Except
hymns.
it's like listen to good music, but I guess like other music because it's not talking. I don't know. I just don't quite get the vision.
Think a sacred song, but not this one.
Yeah.
Another one.
That's funny, man. That's funny.
And then what's cool, if we go to the next one, move it along here. If we go to the next one, we have some more sacrament hymns.
Oh.
There's only like 25 sacrament hymns, and we sing them every week. So you're those get recycled a lot.
Yeah.
So we have, I think, 2 sacrament songs.
As bread is broken. That sounds super hippie.
Mm-hmm.
As bread is broken. I'm just guessing.
As bread is broken, we think of thee. And just a great remembering Jesus and his atonement sacrament
Thy broken
song.
body on Calvary, may we remember thy suffering sore. With broken hearts, thy grace implore. And when was this written? Text and music, Stephen A. Reynolds, 2018. So this is another one of the new ones.
So one of the submissions, new submissions.
Wow.
I wonder if any of Jim Bennett's submissions are going to go in. He submitted some.
Oh.
I wonder
Probably
if
not that
Javelin
one he
Man will
told us
be there.
about. Yeah.
That's
Probably not.
I will fight him over
Probably
that as
not.
well.
That's
Just
funny. All right, so let's do the next one. Let's do the next one.
And the next one is interesting because it's also a sacrament song, but it just feels different to me. I don't know if you've listened to this, Brad or Jacob. It feels like a different sacrament song than the other ones. I don't know what it is about it, but it goes like, in the garden, Jesus suffered every sin and every woe. Something like that.
Oh, I've never heard that one.
And the chorus is, bread of life, living water, feed my soul, fill my heart. Lord, give me new life in thee and make me whole, complete, and holy, bound to thee eternally. I think what it is it's more like a prayer. It's like a very first person narrative. You like saying a prayer or just saying out loud the story in more of like a direct way than kind of this more poetic style that the sacrament hymns usually are. I don't know what it is. It is a newer hymn. It's from 2011.
Well, speaking of new hymns, if there's any proof that pop culture influences the church, it's next
definitely
hymn.
More pop culture-y.
It's the next. They put in Gethsemane.
Dude, that one's awesome. That's a good hymn.
I love that song.
Okay, well, look, it's a pop song. So if pop songs can now get hymnified, why aren't we hymnifying other pop songs?
Hey, Carden.
The hymn book is everything.
Okay.
And so I don't think this is meant to be like, now we're going to sing hymn number, 1007, Gethsemane. I don't think that's what it's for, because it's not written in like the 4/4, I mean, not the 4/4, the bass, tenor, alto, soprano style. It has like a coda, like a DCL coda, which congregation is not going to be able to follow.
Okay.
So I think it's just in there.
That has not stopped them before.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's the thing.
True.
Well,
here's the thing. I'm totally here for it. And Carden, what do you think "Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing" was back in the day it was written?
Yeah, but see, since it's
It was a
old,
pop song.
Since it's old, it's hymnified.
I don't care
because it's
old.
old.
I love having new music and stuff in there. That's great. That's good.
Yes, no, it's true.
How am I more progressive about this than you?
I just want the our God
Yes.
is an
awesome
God he reigns.
I want guitars, like not just a piano. I want guitars.
Well, they have the guitar keys. If you look on the hymns, they have like the guitar
Here's the capo
chords
music right here.
for
Check
all
this
the
out.
hymns.
If you go to the bottom,
I heard that they are doing that they're intentionally putting in the guitar stuff for places in the world where they don't have pianos. So that way people can use guitars to play the hymns.
Yeah, look, here it is, the guitar music.
It's in like the sacrament.
Nice.
It's in like the sacrament songs. They have the guitar chords for it.
So my son is learning piano right now, and I know how to play I Am a Child of God on the guitar. And so I want him to learn on the piano, and then I want to see if my daughter, who loves to sing, can sing it. And then we'll do a little Family Von Trapp number.
Yeah, solid
One on the
movie
piano, one on the
reference.
guitar.
Jamming bread. Yeah.
Rock on, dude. Okay, last one, bro. Last one. Hit it.
Last one? Number 10?
Oh, no, not the last. Sorry, the third to last one. Hit it.
All right. Hail the Day That Sees Him Rise. This is more of my style. I like these kind of peppy, upbeat songs. So this is actually an Easter song, kind of an older one from Charles Wesley in 1739 that I had never heard of before. But like, we better sing this next Easter.
Wait, as in like
cool.
Dude, this one
Charles
looks
Wesley?
awesome.
As in like when you say I'm a Wesleyan minister or something, it's that.
I'm pretty sure it's that Charles Wesley.
Wow.
You know,
okay.
they put Martin Luther's in there. The Mighty Fortress is Our God. You got to put Charles Wesley's him in there too. So it goes, hail the day that sees him rise. Hallelujah. And goes on with that more.
Oh, that's a popular song. I know that song.
Oh, you do?
Oh.
Yeah.
I was just
hadn't
guessing.
heard it before.
Dude, this sounds like I will not be able to not sing it like Christ the Lord is risen today.
Okay,
My brain will automatically start doing that.
Hail the day that sees him rise. Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's
the same.
It's
the
meter.
same thing.
Yeah.
To his throne beyond the skies. Yep.
Okay.
It's funny. I remember learning on my mission. There's
that
a
would be a
bunch
cool
of hymns.
mix
A
up.
cool mashup, yeah.
I remember on my
It's,
mission learning there are a bunch of hymns that you can mix up that have the exact same, like, I think it's like Spirit of God and Oh My Father or something are the same.
There's a number of them, but Come Thou Fount with Joseph Smith's First Prayer is one of the more common.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, how lovely was the morning, radiant beamed the sun above. These were and so on and so forth.
My favorite is that to the tune of If You Could Hide a Cola.
Which one?
The one you were just singing.
Yeah, that one does too.
Now I can't sing the lyrics of Come Thou Fount to
Oh, how lovely was the morning, radiant
beams the sun above.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who knew WardRadio was so musical?
Yeah, for real.
Oh, just you wait, Brittany.
I know.
That's-
Christmas
it's to get
album.
more
audience-
The new merch.
The audience
Christmas.
waited a long time for this hymn review through the whole debate.
True.
So we're giving them what they asked for. Now, this
funny.
one's very interesting. 11 out of 13 is a Christmas song. And it's like a funny, it goes, He is born, the divine Christ child. Raise your voice in joyful melody. He is born, but that's like
that's fun.
that's like the chorus, but you sing it before the verses, and then you go back and sing it again. So it's kind of fun and interesting in that way.
Tricky.
And this is from 1812.
Do we have any
some
other
kind of
songs? Well, so this song predates the Restoration, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And also, do we have any other songs where you sing the chorus first in the hymn book?
I don't think so. So this, they call it like a refrain, and so it's a different. It's in 2/2. Oh wait, no, the whole song's in 2/2. Scratch that. No, it is. It's in 4/4. For some reason, the music just doesn't say it.
Wow.
Oh, I see.
Okay, and then I'm looking at the guitar capo
Anyway.
music. Okay, rock on.
Kind of cool. It's got a refrain going on there.
Okay, I'm seeing.
Number 12.
Number 12.
Oh, number 12. Come on. I didn't even know that this wasn't in the hymn book. But what child is this? They put
What child is this?
Yeah,
Oh.
it wasn't in the hymn book.
I thought that was in the hymn
And so
book.
I
When
thought it was
saw
in the
that
hymn
one too.
book,
I was
but
like, oh,
also-
we didn't have that?
I think that title is hilarious. Like, what child is this? Like,
What child is this?
That they end it with like the question mark there. I'm just
Gary
like,
Springer episode.
It's like the 18th.
Whose child is this?
It's like the 18th
I-
century. Have you seen me? You know, like what child is this?
I love these songs that not that they're dark, but they have kind of that I don't know what you'd call it, the richer tone. Gethsemane, da, 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 and it's very kind of light and airy, but the like, what child is this who lay to just, oh, I like that. It's good.
All right.
So that's what child is this. And probably the most interesting one is Star Bright. The last one, 13 of 13.
Okay.
It's got like this ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum bass line.
There's a cool note at the bottom of this one. It says that this song is written from the point of view of the people in the Book of Mormon who were looking for the prophesied signs of the Savior's birth.
And it was written by Lauren F. Wheelwright in 1959. And then what does alt 2024 mean?
I think
does
it's
that
like
mean
the alternated text. Sometimes they'll switch the text around to stuff they like better.
Okay. Well, look, I'm going to press. I didn't notice this until just now, but there's a headphone thing on the bottom right, so we can hear it really fast. Let's hear what it sounds like. Oh, you're right. Bum, bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. This is like a barbershop quartet just waiting to happen.
It's also awfully close to Carmen.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da.
We need that trombone or the trumpet with that little plunger thingy. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so here we go. Let's. Yeah, that looks like it's kind of funny to play, like good prelude music, Dude,
then that's cool. I like it a lot, actually.
Okay, sick. And then is that the last one, bro? Is that the last one?
That's the last one.
I have a question for you guys.
Okay, hit it.
Did any of you submit hymns?
No.
I did.
I didn't know we
actually
could.
thought of an additional verse for Come Thou Fount, but I was like, they're never going to add a verse to Come Thou Fount, so I didn't submit it.
No, I submitted it. You know how like in the beginning of The Wizard of Oz, if you play Pink Floyd's album The Dark Side of the Moon, like it's a soundtrack to The Wizard of Oz, you know what I'm saying? So I submitted a song where if you play Led Zeppelin, it was the lyrics of the Sermon on the Mount put to Led Zeppelin. They didn't take it. That's hard to believe. You know what I'm saying?
Missing out.
Yeah, they didn't take it. That's hard to believe. And then also, I made a better version of O Zelf for the Heartlanders that talked about how if you don't believe the River Sidon is the Mississippi, you shouldn't be worthy of a temple recommend. And that, unfortunately, that didn't go anywhere either. And
we need like the hymn book apocrypha, like the apocryphal hymn book. It's like this might not be doctrine, but some of it's good for spiritual edification.
Dude, so I actually had one I was going to submit, one that I wrote on my mission.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
cool.
I never got around to it because I didn't have the time to write out the music. And so I will have to record that for WardRadio.
Dude.
And put that together. See if Riley can help me out with that.
Okay, WardRadio is going to start the apocryphal hymn book.
Yeah, man.
I've actually got, my mom did a primary song that she could never figure out like the third verse for. That she made. It was pretty good, yeah.
Oh,
the
nice,
Lord
dude.
commanded Nephi to take his family to something. Yeah.
Nice.
And the chorus is, through small things the Lord can bring about great things. And so it like just goes through the small things that the Lord turned into great things throughout the scriptures and stuff.
Wow.
I literally have hundreds of poems that I've written about Jesus. If anyone knows how to make that
really,
into
Brittany?
a song, I don't write music, but if everyone wants to put my lyrics to songs, I think that'd be cool.
Ooh, that would be
We
fun.
need like
I
a
can help you
music
with
and
that.
poetry hour on WardRadio.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'd be actually pretty cool, man.
Very
That'd
nice.
be pretty cool.
Fancy.
Yeah, dude,
I'll
I'm
have
down
to
with
see
that.
if I can get Riley to agree to share her almost EFY song that she did.
Riley wrote an EFY song?
It's not like on an EFY CD. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was for. It's very similar. Where is it? They like
Oh, I see.
produced it and everything.
Wow.
Wow.
Dang, that's
okay.
cool.
I don't think it was for EFY. I think it was something else. Like, but it's that style.
Okay.
I'll have to
well,
check.
before we go here, because we're rounding up here, Brittany, you got to catch us up on a bunch of super chats before we go here. Before we go, what are all the super chats? Catch us up. Did your phone die?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here,
fine.
I got you.
You got me. Okay,
Okay.
Brad, catch us up on super chats.
Okay, so where did we stop?
I read Rex Good. So under Rex Good.
So
whoever
Matthew
is
Murray
next.
is the first one.
Okay. So Matthew Murray. Expect most or all the LDS specific hymns to be replaced by Jesus-oriented ones. The church wants to be a global Christ-centered faith, and hymns about unique LDS doctrine, Utah and America, are not in line with that. I don't think that's going to be the case.
I agree with that, though. Why do we have the Star Spangled Banner in our hymns?
Well, when you go
that
to
one's not going to be in there.
Yeah,
What?
I mean,
I'm
did you know-
against that.
well, it
bless
might be in the
America.
American
No,
one.
actually,
Guys,
they,
the Canadian
they talked
hymn book
about
has
like
the
a
Canadian
supplemental
anthem in it.
yeah,
Right?
You just have
Each
do your
different
own-
country has their own thing.
But do
right?
they also
So-
have America, like the Star Spangled Banner? Is that included with?
no,
is it just the
guys, Brad
Well, God
is
did
right.
choose us as the
In
promised
Argentina-
land, everybody.
Okay, yeah, I get that. It's
Take
not
that, Canada.
No, in every country they encourage on the National Day of Pride the singing of the national anthem. So in Argentina, we had the national anthem of Argentina glued into the back of the hymn book.
I agree, but
So-
why? Like, just worship Jesus. We don't need to be
No,
singing
'cause we
about
believe
our
in being
country.
One of
subject
my
to-
favorite. You can be inspired by your history and the history of the saints. And frankly, one of my favorite hymns of all time is "They, the Builders of the Nation."
Yeah.
That is
That
a
one's a-
based
yes.
hymn.
That's
I
a
love
rocket
that
hymn.
one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good. I think we're going to keep plenty that are about unique LDS doctrine.
I say we get rid of
Like
all
maybe
the
not
patriotic
Adam on
songs.
Dialman, like that one might be going away. But praise to the man, come ye saints, they the builders of the nation.
We need to
I
go
don't think so.
back to condemning Missouri and its bloodstained soil.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? In Praise to the Man or whatever song that was, right? You know? Okay, keep burning through the super chats, Brad.
I want to. I
Yeah,
want to
stay in Illinois. We should go back.
Nelson for going to our church.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Brad, hit
okay.
it.
And next up, we've got Polly Nike's 2000. Since when are we worried about niceness, politeness, especially with anti-Exmos? Leading the faith astray doesn't deserve any quarter or sympathy.
Oh.
Have you not listened to me at all the entire time I've been on this show?
He's like,
I
no
don't know
quarter
about the thoughtful faith,
November,
I
no
show no
quarter
mercy.
November.
I mean, look, I appreciate the pushback because it's wrong, and I'm not saying to give order or sympathy to people who are attacking the faith. And I'm fascinated to see how often this gets misconstrued when I'm like, hey, let's interact as kindly as possible with one another and do everything that we can to like get on the same page as other people. People are like, oh, you want to be nice to our enemies? It's like, no, I want to actually communicate well, right? And so I don't know. It's funny. I appreciate the pushback so that I have an opportunity to say that's not what I'm trying to get people to do.
Brad, you and I can agree on this.
Mhm.
I think Christ said it best: "Wise as serpents, harmless
Harmless as doves. I totally
That
agree.
is my ethos, and that's the hard on ideas, soft on people.
And I will, I don't know if I agree with that interpretation of it. We should do an episode on that.
We should.
Because I do think that I even go to DNC 121 for this. I think that leads us to reprove betimes with sharpness, which doesn't mean like with such vigor that we destroy them. It means with exactness, right? Reprove people in the right sort of way. When I think sometimes people get a little overexcited about correcting people who aren't even necessarily looking to be corrected, and then they dig in their heels a little bit. But we should definitely do an episode on that.
Okay, next one. We only got 3 more left, and then we're out of here.
Yeah, Rex Good. I'm singing It Is Well for the Ladies in the pool tomorrow morning. I do a concert once in a while.
Whoa.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh,
What does that mean? What
know.
are the ladies
I don't
in
know.
the pool?
wait.
That's awesome.
Yeah, wait.
I don't
You
know what else to say.
sing?
That's cool.
By the way, who are these ladies? Like
Yeah.
what? Yeah, like,
His harem.
dude, this is awesome.
We are against. Just remember, we're against polygamy. Don't take our conversations too far here,
No,
guys.
that's funny,
I
dude.
do believe in excommunicating polygamists.
Well, Rex is also gay, right?
Yeah, I was
He
about to
has-
say. I
But he's
don't think this.
married.
Yeah, I don't think this is a polygamy thing, bro. I think he's just
Enjoy
for the
sharing
He's
music.
the chamber musician, bro. You know, you come over to the good house and you sing an aria. He just sings you an aria because he's that nice of a guy.
That's awesome.
You know? Okay.
Polly Nikes 2000. Brittany's phone is about to die. How is that even possible? I specifically sent a phone charging cable to resolve this issue permanently.
Yes, Brittany, what do you have to say for yourself?
Well, it's charging now. It just died.
And then Chai Hodgson says, I'm most excited for Gethsemane. My 6-year-old loves it so much he sings it in the shower. It is an awesome hymn. It's actually really good.
Okay, rock on. And then Eliza, thank you very much for the super chat. It was empty. And Rachel Hudson, it was empty as well. Brad, do you see a comment perhaps by Rachel elsewhere that might have been what she meant to put in with the super chat as a question?
Rachel Hudson, I'm checking right before to see if there's anything above hers.
Rachel, you got 60 seconds to ask your question because we see that you gave us a super chat, but it was empty.
I have something for you in the Discord.
Oh,
Pardon.
What is it? Hit me. That'll be the last thing.
Look,
what is it?
It's an Amazon link.
Come thou font of every blessing, open in browser.
No. At the bottom.
At the bottom of which Discord? I'm in the host
The
Discord.
general.
The general Discord. Okay. General. Here we go. Play Arise by Riley Haviland Clements. Her maiden name is Clements.
Yeah, man. Whitback is only an upgrade in some very.
Oh, wait. It says, sorry, we
cases.
couldn't find that page. Try searching or go to Amazon's homepage.
What? I pulled it up.
Broken link.
It has a fun picture of Riley.
Wait, hold on. Let me try it again.
Yeah, try it again. It showed up for me.
Now it's coming up. Sign up for Amazon Music Unlimited. No thanks. Oh my gosh, this is so great. Look at that.
Dude, check it out.
Oh man. Wait, how do I play it? Do you just click on it? Purchase options, MP3 music.
You have to purchase it in order to play it.
Okay, I'm going to purchase it freaking right now. Buy MP3 album right now.
And I'm looking for this blank thing while you do this.
Okay, so dang it. It just sent me to all of the music that I bought from Florence and the Machine. And I think it's downloading it now or something. But I'm gonna search for this, see if I can get it up before we leave.
I might have found the Rachel Hudson thing.
Really?
Did you?
After her super chat, she commented herself, replied to herself saying WardRadio Roadies.
WardRadio Roadies. Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
It's already got the musical name.
I like it. It's fun.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So I just bought sample it. Here it is.
The dark around us, it surrounds us. Don't let it in. We'll make a difference. Take our message. It's time to begin.
Oh, she hit it, girl.
Dang, Riley.
All right.
And then the chorus is right after that.
Okay, I'm just pausing it for a second so I don't get copyright struck by your wife. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. No, by Amazon. Let's see here.
Arise and shine forth, that our light will be a standard for the name.
Oh, yeah, that was it. That was the end of the sample.
She's texting me right now. She's like, what are you doing?
How embarrassing. That is awesome. Well, you saw it here first on Ward Radio. Look at that. She's got, is that a choker or is that just a scarf? Whatever. Arise, Riley.
It's artsy is what it is.
Yeah, dude. Wow, that is hilarious. Okay, before we go, Jacob, do you have any hidden albums that we are unaware of out in cyberspace that can be pulled up right now?
Absolutely not. But Cardin, I did serve in Argentina. And as you know, the hymns in Argentina and the congregations when sung sometimes take the spirit out of the meeting because they struggle sometimes. And I actually thought I was a decent singer in Argentina because I could just hold basic notes. And then I got back to the United States and realized that was wrong.
Well, that's because you served out in El Campo. You served with the simpletons and the agricultural folk. I was with the erudite and the urban. I was with the porteños. and they're the best at everything.
Una vergüenza.
Una vergüenza. Okay, cool, awesome. So, any last words before we go?
We got another one from Polynikes.
Okay, hit it, Brad.
Oh, and Riley texted me to say, "Hey, scarves were cool in 2012." Okay.
All right. Hey, look. If you got a pretty face, you can wrap whatever around your neck, and you're just fine. You know what I'm saying? It's just whether or not your face aged well. The scarf didn't so much. You know what I'm saying? So that's all we're saying, Riley. No, I'm just kidding. We're all jelly that you were able to pull off an album that is, by the way, still on Amazon Music. I'm curious, like, how many downloads she's gotten, like.
Yeah, I'll have to ask her.
We'll have to. I want to see those analytics, baby. You know, so. All right, last super chat.
So Polynikes 2000. That's it. Clearly, I need to start paying some Ellis Chiltern to plug in Brittany's phone during future sound checks.
That's funny. That is absolutely hilarious. And then last one here by James King. I think he just sent us just a super chat like that. So thank you very much, James King. Okay, cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Special shout out right now to Luke Hansen for getting all of this ready. Okay.
Oh, Luke's raising his hand.
Yeah, Luke, what you got to say, bro?
Yes. Confession time. I finished up, while you guys were talking about the debate, I finished up an article on WardRadio News that is out now reviewing the BYU Duke volleyball scandal and the new information that came out last night about that. So that's just kind of a note of something to check out. I think it's a pretty good short summary.
What's the 30-second teaser before we go? This is our last thing we're saying.
30-second teaser is the kid who was the anonymous person who got banned by BYU for allegedly telling the racial slurs, which never happened, has spoken up along with his father for the first time, made his name public, and kind of given their side of the story. Unfortunately, it looks even a little worse for BYU, in my opinion, now than it did before. New details they shared about the story. So people can check that out if they want like the short 5-minute version of what that story is.
Looks worse for BYU as like a institution for having gone after the
how
kid?
How BYU handled it looks even worse than it already looked. Yeah.
Gotcha. And it looked better initially.
And it looked very bad.
BYU Provo,
very
right?
bad idea.
Yeah.
Yes. Not those other ones.
You can't trust those Provos.
If there's, and switching back to the original topic, if there's anybody that has anything to do with making the new hymn book watching this, please, we need Oh God Beyond All Praising in the hymn book. It is so beautiful. Both the music and the words. Once again, I feel like Bernie Sanders. I'm once again asking you to put "Oh God Beyond All Praising" in the hymn book. So that's just my plug.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much to everybody who helped us out and hung out with us during our live stream. And Kwaku, unfortunately, who we missed. It looks like his phone died and he bailed a little bit early as well. But thank you very much, Jacob Hansen. Check him out on Thoughtful Faith. Okay, thank you very much, Luke Hansen and Brad Whitbeck, as well as Brittany, the Shadow, keepress of the chats until her phone dies. And make sure you guys check out wardradio.com news. Check out news on wardradio.com in order to check out this new article that Luke Hansen wrote, and also go check out Scripture Notes right here. It's a super cool way on your desktop, especially. It's also on mobile, but I really like the desktop version as a way to organize all your thoughts and do your scripture study in a super organized and very interesting. You can have as many window panes open that are just as chaotic as all your different thoughts are without losing track of where you are. It's super cool. And also make sure you check out wardradio.com and buy a shirt if you want to support the channel. Okay, make sure you buy a shirt, or if you'd also like to contribute through Zelle, because there's a lot of people like contributing through Zelle, make sure you hit us up at zelle@wardradio.com. And other than that, it's been real and it's been fun, and it's been real fun as always for this and more. Please make sure you check us out at wardradio.com. Here's a cool outro.
I built a rocket in my basement. I'm gonna fly it to the moon. This supersonic is amazing. You're gonna feel my sonic boom. I'm flying higher and I'm never coming down. Look at me now.